We're just going to do an audio test right now. Say something.
Say something.
Say something.
Something.
Okay. Are you just getting into turkey hunting or trying to figure out what call you might want to get to shoot that big old gobbler, that beard dragger, that thunder chicken? Well, stick around because we're going to try and help you with that. I think to make things simple, I'm going to break the calls down, and Ryan was just talking to me about this too. We're going to break the calls down into two categories, but then the second category, you can even break it down even further. But you have locator calls, and then you have the actual turkey call. Typically speaking, from my experience, the easiest ones to get a grasp on and use quick would be your box calls. And probably your pot calls are going to be the two simplest ones to make as many noises as possible on it. Going from purrs to clucks to yelps and cuts and kikis and everything else. So between all of the categories, I would say the two easiest for beginners are going to be your pot call and your box call.
No, I agree. Box call is usually the first call that I grab, just because one, it's easy to run, and you know it's the first one you learned when you were a kid. But the other part is it's loud, so you can project that sound out quite a ways, and you know, longer than you're going to be able to hear a gobble coming back. So this is pretty much the first call that comes out of my vest when I'm going to a new spot, especially in the late morning, afternoon, right? Because it can reach out a long ways. You know, just throwing out some yelps, trying to get a gobbler to fire up, and it's easy to run. It reaches a lot longer distance, I feel like, than my pot call. Pretty sure it's Slate over walnut. This call is great. It's a lot more range than what a box call would have, because you're going to have the ability to go softer, right? And you can go louder with it too, but you can go softer with it. And so I like to use that more. I'm sitting on the ground, but you know, the birds, you know, a couple hundred yards away or quite a ways away. Or if I'm specifically calling and not behind a gun, right? You're with me and I'm hidden back in the corner. I'll use this a lot more because I'm able to, you know, conceal myself more. Movement always is the biggest thing, right? And so you inherently have some movement when you're running this, right? You can see this going back and forth, and so if I'm calling for somebody else, I can hide that, right? I can put it down here or sit behind the tree, whatever. But it's a little more difficult, and it takes two hands to run. For those of you new to playing these, there's a band. It's about from here to here. It goes all the way around there. That's what they call the sweet spot or whatever. Like, so the further out you go, it'll be higher. The lower you go in. But yeah, there's a ring around there. You'll find, you know, every spot's going to play different. You can see where I went, or started, to where I went in. Just the different sound that it made as you came in.
So dumbed down version for beginners, your truest tones would probably be your pot calls. And then if you're really wanting to get loud and looking for a tom that's a half mile away, if not further, trying to get a response, it'd swing to your box calls. But the other most popular call, which is a whole category all on its own, is mouth calls, diaphragm calls. And these little buggers, I've got elk calls and turkey calls all mixed together here. So these mouth calls all have a little bit different cut, a little bit different design on the latex on the reeds.
Different stretches,
different thicknesses of all this latex, and they're all supposed to produce different tones. Now, I got a little cheat sheet for like the cuts and the latex that I'll probably try and put up right in here, but if not, I'll put a link down below. Some of the cuts will give you a more raspy hen. Some cuts will give you more cleaner, sharper, louder yelps and clucks. And then depending on the thickness and the tautness of the latex, will also be indicative of whether that's going to be a louder call or a quieter call. And the biggest thing mouth calls and diaphragm calls have going for them is, especially if you're solo hunting, you can be making calls with minimal movement.
It takes some time to get used to these, but if there was one turkey call that I did not want to leave at home, it would be this one.
We talked about turkey calls. Now, simply, we'll talk about the locator call. You can still say it's a turkey call, but it's not a turkey. Anything you're going to be using for a locator call, 99% of the time, is not going to be a turkey. What you're trying to do is get them to shot gobble. And you can get turkeys to shot gobble by slamming doors, car horns, a whole bunch of stuff, but that's not 100% natural, so it could throw them off a little bit, especially the hens. Like Ryan alluded to earlier, the hens are the ones that are smart. So we don't really want to give the hens the impression that whatever we just used to make them shot gobble isn't a natural part out in the woods.
This is just a crow call. I use this call more than any call at my best. There's an inherent danger when you make a turkey call. Danger with it is that if you get a tom to respond to you and he's interested, he's going to start coming and time's ticking, right? If he shot gobbles to a crow call and just gives away his location, that gives you the advantage because you know where he's at and he's not coming to look for a crow, right? He's looking for a hen. So I always try to get him to shot gobble first. That way I can set up based on his location, the terrain around me, who I've got hunting with me, what decoys and all that stuff that I want to set up. That way I can figure out a game plan and start executing that before he knows that he's supposed to be coming and looking for a turkey. Whereas if I start off with a turkey call, that automatically puts me on the clock and I got to start figuring out what's going on. So
that's another one.
Yeah, go right into this one, huh? This is an owl call. They use this in the morning or the evening, particularly when the birds are on the roost. So the rule of thumb with turkeys, tom turkey wants to be the last one to bed and the first one up in the morning. So that's the only whether or not that's even true, I don't know. But that's the always been the thought process of why they will gobble on the roost, right? They want to wake up the world, and then at night when you locate birds or put them to bed with one of these, that's why they'll gobble. It's pretty simple cadence. Who cooks for you? Who cooks for y'all? And then take a listen. When you're locating birds, try to think of large timber, although I have seen turkeys roost in trees that were no bigger around than that. But big trees, especially over water, are a good spot. I know down here in the river flats, I can remember as a kid going down to the river flats just down the road and listening to Dad do this and have the turkeys go off, and actually every now and then you might even call in an owl, which is pretty fun. But I've done that a couple times too.
Yeah, so I think Ryan hit that on the nose. I would say, and he said it himself, the key with locator calls is you're not giving that tom something to come and look for. You're actually just trying to pinpoint where he's at so you can make a move on him. Well, I guess with that, I hope this video has been at least a little bit of insight for you, especially any newcomers coming in to the spring hunting for turkeys. I hope you take this information and that you have great success with it.
Get out there and enjoy it, and everything that you do out there, every situation you have where the turkey hangs up or they see you or something happens, make sure you take that away as a learning experience and learn from that. And because not every situation is going to work 100% of the time. Stay persistent, always learn something, and just go have fun.
Yeah, my last little bit of advice would probably be, if you have somebody to turkey hunt with, it makes it 10 times more fun. Hunting with Ryan or Derek it's 10 times more fun. I do like hunting by myself sometimes, but get out there and just have fun. If you're going to have fun with your friends or by yourself, like Ryan said, learn from it if something doesn't go your way. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've got something with it. Take away something with this from this video and have some success this spring. So,
and if you have questions,
yeah, if you do, yeah, that's a good point. You know, I never say that. If you've got any questions for us, you can message us on Instagram, Facebook, or here on YouTube. Until next time, we'll catch you guys on the flip side. Do you want to say a cool thing?
I don't have a catchphrase other than I didn't catch fish. And
oh no! What did you say?